YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Asha Monique, and for those of you who don't know, I'm an active duty military member. I have been in the Navy for almost 4 years, and I'm a cryptologic technician collection second class. A lot of people ask me all the time so many questions about the Navy, so I figured I'd make a video explaining everything from the beginning to where I am now and what things have been like for me. So, from the beginning, you wake up and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm going to join the Navy. It's not a decision you should take lightly. It's not something that you should choose for anyone but yourself. Understand that, once you sign that paper, there's no going back, right? So I went to the MEPS office, and of course you're gonna talk to a recruiter. I advise, if you know anybody that has been in the Navy or the military, that you take them with you, because they will try to swindle you and give you something that might not be the best, right? So I went there. I had to retake my ASVAB because I had taken it when I was in high school and I didn't join until I was 21. And so I took my ASVAB, and I think I got like 75, something like that, and they were like, okay, that's great. And from there I did my research on what jobs I could get based on the preliminary line scores I got, because it's not the official ASVAB you take there. You're taking pretty much like a pretest so they can gauge where you're at, so that when you go to MEPS, the official place where you take your official ASVAB, they know about where you'll be placed. So they were like, you did great, like, just make sure, you stay sharp so that when you go to MEPS, you'll do at or about this level. I told them that I wanted a job with a security clearance, and that, I wanted to leave knowing what my rate is. When you go in there, they will try to sell you something called the PAC Seaman program, or they'll try to name it something fancy, the apprenticeship program, whether it's air, fireman, or seaman. Don't do it unless you really need to get out of there quick and there's no other options. I urge you, try your best to get a rate, because in the Navy you can re-rate. If you go to a ship as a deck seaman, you will be needle gunning, painting, there are so many other things you'd rather be doing. I promise you that. It's not what they sell it to be. They told me that the PAC Seaman program, it's great, you'll get to try every division. It's like an apprenticeship, if you're indecisive, it'll be great. Every deck seaman that I've met was stuck in deck, standing terrible watches, and they were not able to go experience the other divisions like they were supposed to. So do your research before you go to the recruiters, before you go to MEPS, and have an idea of some jobs that you wouldn't mind having. And if you're not a great test taker, I urge you to pick up the ASVAB for Dummies, or especially if you haven't been in high school for a while, or you're not really a good test taker, so that you have a good chance at taking the test. So I think I did MEPS, or I did the initial recruiting session, I talked to the recruiter, and then I told them I wanted to go to MEPS around the 1st of the month, because around the 1st more jobs are open up. So that's a fact. If you want something good, I urge you to go around the beginning of the month, because more jobs are open. So I went toward the beginning of the month, and I took my test. I got around the same score. Line scores were looking good, and then you go in after you take all the tests. Now MEPS is a whole can of worms. It's going to be a long day. You have to stay overnight. So took the test. You get the physicals. That includes the duck walk. They're doing your eye test, your ear exam. They're asking you all these questions. You don't even know that they're doing kind of like a psychological exam on you the whole time. People are breaking down. Ladies, make sure when you go to MEPS you wear full coverage underwear. If you wear a thong or cheekies, you will get booted out, and you're not going to be able to conduct the deck walk and stuff just because you need to be in appropriate clothing. You don't want to be flashing people, things of that nature. Just tip there. So then, I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. It's just a lot. When I went in to pick my job, the lady was like, these are what you're eligible for. I had like IT, IS, CTR, CTT, LS, HM, and they give you little blurbs about what each job is and where the primary schooling is for each. The blurbs, if you didn't do prior research, the blurbs aren't too accurate. They're just like cookie cutter, like, you will perform, very, who the heck's gonna know what that is? So I didn't want to be an IT. Kind of regret that decision, but I didn't want to be IT at the time, so I chose CTR, Cryptologic Technician Collections. I know it's an R, but it stands for collections. So I chose that, and she asked me if I was okay with leaving like a month later, and I went to MEPS in May, and I was like, no, I want to wait, and I want to spend my 21st birthday with my sister, which is in August, which was August of that year. So I ended up depping or entering the dep cycle or whatever. So I waited, and I left for boot camp October 13th, 2015, which is the Navy's birthday. So that whole process was scary. During the dep process, I advise you, if you don't have to wait that long, don't, because my emotions were like this during the dep process. You might meet someone if you're single during that time, or you might get a promotion at your current job, or your mind just starts playing with you, like, do I really want to join the Navy? Is my life really that bad? Or there's just so many things that go through your head, and you kind of start talking yourself out of it during that process. At least I did, which I think is normal. You're like, I don't really need to be away for that long. I'm not in the best of shape. I'm not the strongest swimmer. Like, who am I kidding? I'm not gonna make it through boot. So I was nervous, I was scared, but at the end of the day, like, when October 13th came, I got on that bus, and I got to boot camp, and that's where the journey began. So boot camp, we got MEPS done, right? We're done with MEPS. We got the MEPS process. Boot camp was a whole nother can of worms. They dropped me off at boot camp. You get there, you got like 2 minutes to call your family when you get there. Like, hey mom, I made it safe, I love you, click. You gotta shut your phone off, and you put it in the box, and you mail it back, right? Along with all your other personal items. I kept my brush. I kept a silk scarf to tie my hair up at night. And I think that's it. I kept those 2 things. Everything else had to go in a box, and you had to ship it back. You get everything there. Granny panties, shampoo, conditioner, a donut for your hair, because you don't have to cut your hair anymore, females. It was just, they were just yelling. You stayed up for like a full 24 hours that first day. There was no food. You got water though. It was just a lot. Peeing in cups, screaming. I feel like it was to weed out the people that really couldn't make it, because people were really having a hard time with that. So that was day 1. After that, things kind of got easier. We finally got issued our uniforms, our boots. There's a swim test. Boot camp's a little bit different now. So I've heard, like, my junior sailors would come in and they would tell me stuff about boot camp, and I'm like, that's a lot different than what I went through. But there's still a swim test, so you have to swim the pool up and back in 12 minutes. I think it's 12 minutes. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. I'm sorry. But I couldn't swim on top of the water or the stroke that they wanted, so I became an NQS, which is a non-qualified swimmer. And then if you can't swim, you have to wake up every morning before everyone else and go downstairs and eat early breakfast, and then quickly get your butt to the swim hall, which was quite far from where my ship was, and go to swim lessons. Finally, one day I woke up and I was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore, and I passed the swim test. Like, so they teach you, if you're struggling, is the elementary backstroke, which is really hard because they teach you in like a 3 feet pool, and it's hard to learn how to swim in a more shallow pool. So I suggest, if you are taking swimming lessons before you join the Navy, or if you have access to that type of stuff, learn or get very familiar with the elementary backstroke, or the backstroke, because they like that. And then you're gonna have to do the dead man's float for 2 minutes. Yeah. So that was hard for me too. After doing the swim, I thought I was in the clear, good to go, and then I had to do that. PT test, as you know, 1.5 miles, sit-ups and push-ups. That's all dependent upon your age group, your if you're male or female. But for me, as a 24-year-old female, I have to run a mile to get just the pass, which I don't suggest, because if you just pass and you get anything on like a probationary or a satisfactory, you're going to be on FEP. So I don't suggest that you do that. But if something happens, worst comes to worst, it's 15 minutes and 30 seconds for the run. You only have to do like 16 push-ups. Curl-ups is like 55. But we always strive for greatness here. At least I do. And if you get outstanding low with nothing below a good low on any category, you don't have to do the next PRT. So why not just strive for greatness on one, so you can skip the next one and just weigh in? I will put a link to the PRT standards and like the swim stuff in the description box, because I'm not like too versed on that. Because I haven't had to. Once you pass the swim test in the beginning of boot camp, you don't have to do it again, unless you want to get a higher level of swim qualification. If you want to be like a SAR swimmer, or if you want to do air crew or something, that's the only time that you're gonna have to get back in the pool. But we do not like swim on the regular. Or you could swim for the PRT, but that's not like a test. Well, that's like a fitness test, but it's not for purposes of, So, ship life. I think that's going to have to be a separate video. So, if you have any questions about being, PCS on a ship, especially if you're a female, if you have any questions about working out on a ship, I'd love to answer those questions. Being stationed on a ship was the most challenging and the most rewarding thing that I've done thus far. Some days I really miss it. I miss waking up and going outside in the middle of the night and the stars just lighting up the sky. It'd be the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen, and it's so peaceful, and I think it helps you appreciate the fact that we're just small fish in a big pond. We're just floating out there in the middle of the ocean. So yeah. Also, in boot camp, you're issued all the uniforms that you need. However, pause, comma, you are paying for it. So don't expect to get huge paychecks while you're in boot camp. If you are the sole provider for your family, you need to make sure that you have set something up. My mom was worried, hey, you're only getting $200-300. Is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, we have to pay for our uniforms out of pocket. And then every year after that, on your anniversary of joining, you'll get a uniform allowance, which it'll be $300 to $400 depending, so that you can take care of your uniforms. But if you're the only person providing for your family for those 6 to 8 weeks, depending on your division, push style, or whatever that you're in, you're going to need to make sure that you either have money saved or somebody else helping with the bills, because you have to pay for, of course, the camis, which is the blouse, the trouser. In boot camp, they don't get issued these, so it would just be blank. And a set of these is about maybe like $120, and I think they're issued 3 sets of these. You get the black steel-toed boots, you have to pay for the belts, the brown t-shirts, the socks, you're paying for the skivvies, the sports bras if you're a female, you know, the PT sets. You got the the sea bags. You're paying for your dress blues, your dress whites, the white shirts underneath, your dress shoes, the backpack, the water bottle, everything that you're using in boot camp, or the running sneakers that they give you. Anything that you're touching in boot camp that's going on your body or that you're using, you're paying for. So I don't think I was prepared for that. But luckily, like, I had some money saved and I didn't go there with too much that I needed to take care of. Otherwise, I probably would have been a little screwed. So, like I said, if you have any questions about ship life, or if you're going to a ship, or you know somebody going to a ship who's kind of nervous, who's kind of scared, if they're getting PCS to Japan and they, you know, aren't too sure about it, I'm here. I'm in Yokosuka, Japan. I'm forward deployed. I was on a cruiser, and it's not as scary as they may think. Just, I'm here. So that's what my next video will be about. I love you so much. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.